all about hammers. Hello and welcome to my vlog. I am Ron, and remember, there are no accidents. You may think you clicked this link by mistake, but you are actually in the right place at the right time. Congratulate yourself and give yourself a high five, and don't do that if there's anyone around because you look like an idiot. Tonight, the show that will rock the internet, if anyone watched it. It's the show that the internet has been waiting for. I'm going to set the internet on fire. The show that the world has been waiting for. Tonight, on the internet, all about hammers. 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 Yes, hammers. This technical marvel. Don't believe me? I'll prove it. I have two hammers. Why would I do that if this wasn't about hammers and wasn't important? So about hammers and how, in fact, it may be all you need, as every problem really is a nail. The hammer. Do not underestimate this tool. Essentially, every historical edifice and monolithic structure in history up to the last 200 years or so was created with some variation of this simple tool. Cutting diamonds, building a watch, a house, or a pyramid, the hammer is your go-to tool. Ancient man created huge civilizations and hid them in jungles and deserts with a hammer. Ultimate weapon in world domination. Hammer's all they had. Okay, chisel, maybe a saw. But hammers were pretty much it. So the moment of epiphany happened as I was stationed to watch people going in and out of a particular depression that we had made to build a tank in, a huge tank to be filled with crude oil. And I'm watching these people working in there, and it's my job to document who was in and out of the hole. In case of an emergency, we'd know how many people had to be accounted for. And there's 50-foot long slabs of steel, 8 or 9 feet high, swung into position, and then a man sitting on a little chair would be hoisted up with a 2-pound sledgehammer and a stick welder. He beat the iron into the shape of this tank and spot welded it in preparation for the machine that would come along and do the oil-tight weld. And I was amazed whether this piece of metal needed to go in or out, line up the edges, go up or down. Same technique, beat on it with a hammer. And I had a lot of time to sit and think about this, and I started realizing that other people I knew that worked fabricating with large pieces of steel seemed to be a lot more about pitting their will against the steel and forcing it to do what they wanted than real technical, mathematical, engineering type finesse or skills. And from there I started thinking about people I worked with that weren't the sharpest tools in the shed, let's say, would attempt to do jobs in ways that horrified me. No engineering credentials, no planning, just launch in and start putting stuff in a position where it looked like the finished product they wanted and beat on it with a hammer. And lo and behold, they accomplished things I swore wouldn't work the way they were doing them. So realize that our concept of how, our obsession with how, is often misplaced. And that our will, our vision, our determination applied steadily and repeatedly to our goals and dreams and in our operation is more of a key factor in accomplishing things than precise instructions and education. So what this means is that to a large degree, every problem really is a nail. And your willpower and your determination are the hammer. People are always trying to sell a how to go about doing something, instructions. And in our insecurity and uncertainty, and honestly in our desire for guarantees in life that when we set out to do something it will work, we become obsessed with how. We want minutia. We want to study to the finest detail how to go about doing something. Whether that is making $1 million, starting a business, asking a girl out on a date. We think that there's some holy grail of how, that if we just knew this secret or this technique, we would be successful. Now I realize if you're doing electronics, computer programming, accounting, probably poetry, yes, how is important. There is definitely a right way and a wrong way, and the wrong way is just not going to accomplish the purpose. But in many areas of life, persistence, determination, and an ability to react in real time to changing situations are the key ingredient. You get that hammer out, you tap, 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 thump, thump, bang, bang away with your vision clearly in mind of where you want to go, and you adapt in real time. If you read Art of War, highly recommends that you adapt your battle strategy based on the terrain, the light, the weather, the enemy, your forces, that a fixed strategy is the way to lose and can actually be used against you if you become predictable. We often get bogged down in an endless circle of learning and preparing and studying and gathering information on how to go about some project and postpone diving in. Get enough information for now and a clear view of what's ahead and jump in and start tapping away. Now, be prepared that the course may not go quite the way you thought and you'll have to change direction. Even the goal, as it gets closer, you might realize that it needs to be shifted a little bit. Things aren't what you thought. But it's that steady application, persistent tapping away with your energy towards your dream that is most likely to win the day in most areas of endeavor. Even a judge with his gavel enforces his will in the courtroom with a type of hammer. Look at me. I obviously don't know anything about video recording and doing vlogs, and tap, 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 away I go. On that note, I will see you next time. That steady tap, 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 tap. Keep on knocking and it will be opened. Except in bomb diffusing. Know what you're doing there, I think. Electricians, pipe fitters, metal workers, archaeologists, geologists. It seems every trade has a hammer, perhaps modified to suit a particular task. Millwrights and mechanics have ball peen hammers. They have dead blow hammers, brass hammers. We've got a lot of rubber hammers. Whether it's a fellow that cuts diamonds and fine jewels, he has a hammer. A watchmaker has a hammer. An electrician has a hammer. A plumber carries a hammer. A roofer carries a hammer. We have mallets. Even the judge has a hammer. And let's not forget Thor. Very effective use of a hammer.